There is no one-size-fits-all approach to paid social strategy. Although there are similarities and best practices that apply across all of our e-com clients, regardless of their size, every strategy should be tailored to the vertical that the brand operates in, its mission statement and core USPs, its customer profile, and its measures of success. I'm going to run you through a few scenarios on how we'd approach a paid social strategy based upon those points and the size of the brand. To begin, let's consider how established the brand is. So number one, client size. Although it can be difficult, small brands or brands new to paid social should try and be as patient as possible with their results. Results can be immediate, but it's a long-term gain. We always brief in creative best practices during onboarding. However, it takes time to establish learnings. We need to understand what USPs resonate with your audience. This is the key driver to long-term performance. For lesser-known brands, it's also important to build brand awareness and not be overly focused on ROAS, which is a challenging conversation to manage when budgets and profitability are tight. But it's important that paid social gets a fair share of your digital spend to allow your brand to scale, even if the ROAS looks on the low side. We ensure our account strategy is as measurable as possible for less established clients with smaller budgets. Focus on qualified traffic rather than less measurable reach to help measure those conversations. Although it can detract from account ROAS, the account should be fully focused on acquiring new customers and driving overall brand growth. The biggest pitfall we see for larger clients, with a brand established, a full funnel approach in place, and a very clear idea of what does and doesn't work creatively, is that brands become overly focused on ROAS, especially GA4 last click ROAS. Paid social no longer becomes viewed as a branding tool, but a sales-focused performance marketing channel. It's important to maintain a balance between brand building and performance marketing. There's a reason why huge businesses like Nike or Amazon continue to invest in upper funnel marketing. Don't allow your account to be consumed by dynamic content just because that's what drives sales. When we audit big accounts, we often see dynamic content taking upwards of 75% of spend just because expectations have shifted. There's absolutely a place for an established brand to drive direct sales on paid social, but ensure budget is ring-fenced so you continue to showcase more visual, upper funnel creative and brand USPs. Without this, there's more reason to lose customers to similar sized competitors or smaller disruptive brands. There are also a few other ways your strategy might differ. Unlike for smaller budget clients, consider using less measurable reach or video view optimizations and upper funnel awareness to drive cost-efficient reach, and utilize third-party attribution tools to help assess their performance. Open up your account to more expansive targeting of existing customers. Paid social should still focus on new customer acquisition, but it can also help retain customers, especially if they're not actively engaging with your email campaigns. For clients of all sizes, you must adopt a full funnel approach, you must know who your target demographic is, and you must ensure you're showcasing the parts of your brand that resonates with your audience. Now, let's look at a few industry-specific examples of how you might tailor your strategy. Number one, luxury clients. The role of paid social should not be to drive direct sales if your brand has a high price point. Paid social often has a lower average order value than other channels, and you can't expect someone to convert as readily if they're unfamiliar with the brand and your prices are high. Although more affluent individuals might not need as much convincing before pulling the trigger on a purchase, the prevalence of broad targeting means to an extent we're at the mercy of the platforms. So the role of paid social in your digital mix should be focused on conveying why the average individual should. Where other channels such as PPC are less effective in showcasing that message, I'd expect paid social to have a higher share of your digital spend. Focus on highlighting your brand's quality and focus on driving qualified traffic to the site, not direct sales. We might also consider launching on Pinterest earlier than for the typical brand, because it's an affluent, high AOV platform, especially for clients that are in the homeware, jewellery and fashion sectors. Number two, multi-brand resellers. This is quite a difficult one to get right on paid social. For brands that don't stock their own brand products, and where price competitiveness and profitability are such a key part of their strategy, I'd expect paid social to make up a smaller share of their digital spend. In this industry, people have a clear idea of the exact products they want to purchase, and for that reason, Google Shopping is king. In recent years, we've adapted our account structures to focus less on a full funnel approach and more on core categories and key brands so that we have a clear view on the cost of sale. That's not to say that branding isn't important. If we take a look at a specific multi-brand reseller examples such as footwear and brands like JD Sports or Size, love or hate them, these are brands that have an established brand culture despite stocking shoes that are widely available. Their audience goes to them first because they know they stock the brand they're interested in and will have the latest styles. Are there post-purchase benefits to your brand like a rewards program that we can push on social that help differentiate yourself in a very competitive market? If you look past the direct cost of sale, paid social can be a powerful tool to help push your wider brand mission. My last example is women's fashion and jewellery. I'm an advocate for allowing Meta's algorithm to identify and target your demographic automatically. Manual platform targeting controls are often more of a hindrance rather than a benefit. Platform spend across Facebook and Instagram is often more of a health check metric for us, rather than something we want to control. However, for women's fashion and jewellery, we would recommend an Instagram-first approach. In these very competitive industries, brand positioning is key, and Instagram, rightly or wrongly, is viewed as a more acceptable platform to advertise on than Facebook. For clients operating in this industry, we would ensure a bulk of your awareness spend is focused on Instagram, but allow any Advantage Plus shopping campaigns and lower funnel retargeting to target freely and drive sales. On the other hand, I might expect the opposite in men's fashion, where more spend might naturally shift to Facebook, where the audience converts through dynamic content that works well on the platform. We've built up learnings and approaches for a wide variety of client sizes and verticals over many years of experience in the industry. If you want advice on your paid social strategy, we're only an email or phone call away.